Hello there. What's going on, everybody? We've got a lot of Legion expansions to talk about. FFG dropped a bunch of news on us last night with their Adepticon live stream, and then immediately following that, dropped 2 articles for our new expansions that are coming. We've got a Clan Wren and Inferno Squad article. We also got a Republic ATRT and Stab Rider article. We're going to run through all of these. And I also want to remind you guys, if you are new here, there is still time left to enter to win the $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. I'm going to be announcing the winner of that this weekend, so you still have time. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. All right, so let's start talking about these. I want to talk about the Stab Riders and the ATRT first. And I don't think this came as a surprise to a lot of people of what was coming. This was all pretty clear, but it was nice to know like what we were basically going to be getting. So we've got the ATRT. We're going to go into this one first. So this is the clone ATRT. Very similar to the Rebel ATRT in a lot of ways, but they've definitely done some process improvement here. They are giving the model a lot more customizability, and they've changed the model a little bit, or they've changed the unit card a little bit to work better with the Republic. So it's coming in at 65 points, and it's going to have hardpoint and comms. Still got the 3 red grappling claws, impact 1 on there. It has armor, climbing vehicle, expert climber, and it gains scout 1, which the rebel version does not have. Now, our driver has a much better weapon than on the ATRT for the Rebellion. You've got the Merson RPC-2 rocket launcher. I don't know why I'm using that accent for it, but yes, basically, you've got a 3-die ranged attack now, so you don't even have to give this thing a hard point, which is kind of cool because, 3 dice is not bad. And similar to, the ATRT, running the ATRT for the Rebels without a hard point, this is at least a weapon that is not fixed front, so you can shoot this any which way you want. And that's not half bad. So, I think really it comes down to a point where this may be very much an optional hard point. This may be a unit that you just run at 65 points, which is pretty good, compared to a lot of the ways people tend to run bark speeders. So, you got a black and 2 white with critical 1 and impact 1. It's not a bad, critical's great anyway. You've got white defense die, you do gain defensive surge, and you have surge to hit only, not surge to crit like the Rebellion's version of the ATRT. 6 health, 4 resilience, speed 2. So, first off, Scout 1 is really interesting here. It kind of makes up for, like, if you're comparing this directly to the Bark, which I think is I think there's 2 comparisons people are going to make for the Republic ATRT, and that is, you're going to compare it to the Rebel ATRT, and you're going to compare it to the Bark Speeder because that's the closest comparison in faction. So you can compare cross-faction, and you can compare in-faction. Obviously, it's going to be less offensive output than the Rebellion's version of the ATRT. For one, it's more expensive, and for 2, it doesn't have surge to crit. And that surge to crit was one of those things that always made the Rebel ATRT really, really nasty, especially with that rotary blaster. Now, for hard points, they didn't give us any looks at the hard points, but they did name them, and it does look like you are getting basically the exact same hard points that the Rebels get. Now, it's unclear if they're going to be truly identical or if they're going to be slightly retooled. And it wouldn't surprise me a little bit if they did rebalance them somewhat, considering that you only have surge to hit on the unit here. And the reason they explain for surge to hit is primarily because clones can fire support off of this, and clones do not have any offensive surge. So even giving a surge to hit allows you to fire support like a Z6 phase 1 clone and roll a fistful of dice, now also gaining surge to hit because this guy is the one that's shooting. So fire support becomes very, very powerful. And now if you got surge to crit and you fire support off of that, it gets even more deadly. So I can understand why they didn't want this thing to have surge to crit, especially for only 65 points. Because of the in-faction abilities. I get that. But from a certain point of view, I'm thinking, well, the Bark also has surge to hit. And is faster, right? Like the Bark, you don't really need to, I guess where I'm at with this is I'm not sure how many ATRTs you really need to run. I know for the Rebels, triple ATRT is totally a thing. I know it's totally a thing that people run. And I'm wondering, do you really need to run 3 ATRTs for the Rebels? Because, I mean, a Bark is obviously going to play differently because it's got that compulsory move. I happen to like the compulsory move. But the Bark is a little bit less defensible, right? It doesn't have that defensive surge, so but it's okay because there's plenty of things that you run with the Republic that can give out surge tokens. So, it's okay. I will point out that this ATRT, even though there is a clone driving it, it is still considered a ground vehicle, and in that, it cannot share tokens with clones. So it's not going to get that natural clone synergy that you already get with your clones. Unless, of course, there's some hidden upgrade that's going to allow it to do that, which that would make this pretty significant. But on the surface, it looks like it's solid, but I'm not completely blown away. It's certainly similar enough to the Rebel ATRT, especially with that built-in rocket launcher. I really am eager to see how the hard points are going to look for something like this. Now, in the live stream, they did also show us some of the different sculpt options, some of the, kind of the different pieces that you can put on there, how you can make your ARF troopers. And I really just want to get like a Shapeways head, and that's a dog, and just put doggy heads on them because they're ARF troopers and they're very good boys. I don't know. And then even though the ATRT itself, you can have it, built differently. You can have different feet forward, so you can have a variety of different poses. The thing that I'm wondering, though, is at the bottom, they show like one with the left foot forward, and then on the other one, they show the one with the right foot forward. Can you do one where both feet are forward? Or with both feet backwards and just make it look kind of derpy that way? Like, it would look kind of weird if like both feet were backwards and it was like, I don't know. I mean, like, that would be really fun to play around with. So I think this one will be a fun one to build, especially from the weapons. It looks like you're still getting that laser cannon. You're still getting that Gatling cannon. You're still going to get the flamethrower. The weapons look literally identical. So, from everything you can see here, looks like it's almost exactly the same as the Rebels version physically. Now the Staps look pretty cool. They look really, really slick. Like, they look better here than in the movie. So like, I can't wait to get my hands on these. They look super great. Really good paint job on these too, by the way. Subtle, but very nice. Really has me calling out for that episode 1 battle. Really makes me want Gungans. By the way, speaking of Gungans and sub-factions, I think we're going to be talking sub-factions in the next episode of Double Critical. So if you haven't already, check out Double Critical podcast on it's on Podbean, it's on Apple Podcasts. So we've been doing that, talking about like wish list stuff and theory crafting and thinking about the future, So that's what Double Critical is all about. So Stap Riders, 73 points, meant to somewhat mirror the speeder bike play of the Imperials. Okay, I get that. You've got Agile 1. Hey, after you do a standard move, gain a dodge token. Nice, so you're going to have some dodges. At least one dodge, right? You have AI move, too, which honestly makes your AI not that bad. Like, I'm not certain your Staps really need to be given orders, right? I mean, of course, then you've got Coordinate Droid Trooper. So if you do get an order on them, then you can coordinate. Now, I guess an interesting thing here would be like comms relay. Like if you put the relay on here, you give them an order, then they put their order somewhere else, but like then but they can you coordinate first and then put your order? Like that's one of the things I'm wondering if that will actually work. And that would be a kind of a cool thing about them because you can do standing orders, give them one, start the chain, but then their one that they had, then it goes somewhere else, So one goes to one goes to an AAT, boom, and then another one goes to another AAT, and then boom, both of those guys have orders, and then they start to chain for your B1s or something crazy, I don't know. I'll have to think about that a little bit more. But either way, I feel like AI move is perfectly reasonable for a unit that has a fixed front. So if you might need to move to line up that shot anyway. And since you're going to probably want to move to get free dodge tokens, bonus, right? You also have Cover 1. which is fairly common amongst speeders and speeder bike units, and speeder 1. So you're going to be able to ignore terrain that is, height 1. You also are a repulsor vehicle. You also are speed 3. So you're going to get that free move before you activate anyway. If you don't have a command, you're going to have to do another move. So then you're basically doing a huge speed 6 kind of move, right? Which is pretty nasty. It's more than that because you put the base in between. So you can really get a lot of mobility here, and I think that'll be pretty fun. Then, of course, since you're 2 miniatures here, you're going to have 6 black dice with critical 1 fixed front. And since there's 2 minis and critical 1 is on the weapon, that'll actually be critical 2 if they're both still alive and firing. So that's nice. So you can get 6 black off of these guys. It's not too shabby, especially with critical 1. Droids don't have a whole lot of surge, and this is pretty good attack, a pretty decent attack pool for separatists, I feel like. They got no surge of any kind, though, right? And outside of the critical 1. So their white defense die, these guys are going to die very quickly. The only saving grace they're going to have is their cover 1, and then they're agile. So you may want to actually be doing those moves. And if you are trying to get them into position, you could, between your speeder 1 and then doing 2 move actions, you can have a pair of dodge tokens sitting on you. You'll be really, really far away. You could do quite a bit. And the cool thing about agile, as you know too, is you don't have to do the complete move too. So if you're trying to nestle yourself right behind some line of sight blocking terrain, you can get there and limit how many shots you can get. So with some creative flying, you might be able to stay alive for a decent amount of time with these guys popping out at just the right moments to take some nasty shots. So that's fun. One of the things in the article that came out after the live stream, and they were kind of hinting about some new upgrades, and I think one was this command control array. A pretty cool character. I don't know who this character is on here, by the way. I'm not sure who that is. Almost looks like they're wearing Stormtrooper armor, so they're a biological. Yeah. But then again, it's also not a faction-locked upgrade. So that's interesting. But, but isn't it kind of, right? It's got coordinate. So, there's some other stuff. But anyway, I kind of like this one. When you use coordinate, you can issue an order at range 1 to 2 instead of range 1. So this could have a little bit of use outside of the separatists. Just a little bit, I suppose. If you want them on your shores or your rebel veterans and stuff like that. I could see that being an option. I could say I still like HQ uplink on shores and veterans, but this is awfully cheap too, and it gives you some flexibility. So I'm okay with that. Especially for shores, because a lot of times that Imperial mortar, you want that pretty far back. So if it can fire support at range 4, I could see maybe putting this on shores. It's a possibility. But yeah, so there's a pretty kind of cool little ability here for the command control array. I wonder how they're going to give this, however. I wonder how they're going to give this to the Imperial players and to Rebel players, because if it only comes in the Separatist and Republic pack, is this also coming in all the other packs too? It's just stuff to think about. All right, so we get a little preview of how they're going to look and how you can build them. There's one guy with the arm up, and then you got one kind of riding up and one kind of riding down low, and then the flight stands. So they're really going all out with these new curved flight stands too, which is pretty cool. I kind of like that. All right, we've got Clan Wren and Inferno Squad. So this is the one that these are the two that everybody's really been waiting for. They kind of leaked, and then the box art kind of leaked, and we're like, we can finally talk about them now because now we have some information. And a lot of very important questions were asked. Primarily, are they unique units? Well, both yes and no, and that's a really interesting answer. So basically, I talked about this in my breakdown, but they are both. You're going to get 2 unit cards in here, very much like how when the Rebels and the Empire had the Scouts and the Rebel Commandos, how you had the strike team and then the full unit, right? You're going to have something kind of like here. You're going to have the full unit that's generic, and then you're going to have an alternate version of that full unit that's unique. So you're going to have like the Imperial Special Forces, and then you're going to have Imperial Special Forces Inferno Squad. That's the unique version. And they're going to be different. Now, we did not get previews of these unit cards. They're saving these for the actual articles. They obviously, I'm assuming, there's something going on here. My guess is that these guys are going to have coordinate. And that's how they're going to give us that new antenna option, is that they're going to have some kind of ability to take that upgrade, or they're going to come with that upgrade or something like that. That's my guess, is there's going to be some kind of coordinate functionality here, because they did say that each of these units would have synergy. So Inferno Squad would be designed to specifically have synergy with Iden Versio, and then Clan Wren was going to be specifically designed to have synergy with Sabine Wren. And so, like, hey, that's really cool. And since those are different, like, very different units, I like that this represents some asymmetry between Rebels and the Empire. And so that much seems really cool. Let's talk about Clan Wren first. We get lots of different minis here. We have specific minis that we can talk about that are named characters, which I really dig that. I like that quite a bit. And then we also have, we got the Beskad Duelist, which I love this. So the basic unit for these guys are going to be called the Mandalorian Resistance. And, of course, if you're running the Clan Wren version, it'll be Mandalorian Resistance and then, dot for unique with the subtitle Clan Wren. That's basically what they said in the in the live stream. This mini is just awesome. So it's a heavy. You can only add it to this one, which makes sense. That's pretty standard. And it's giving you a different melee option. And it's actually not bad. So 2 red for melee is pretty good, because, like, a lot of units, we don't know what their card is going to look like, what they're going to have. They might have a red die for melee. They might have a black die for melee. We don't really know. So if let's just say they have one black die for melee, this would give you, and for 28 points, which is not exactly cheap, it's a little on the expensive side. I'd say I would call 28 points quite expensive for a unit that does not even have a ranged weapon. So I'm guessing they probably at most have a single black die. And this turns them into a melee threat. And the duelist keyword is arguably more important than the 2 red. But really that kind of depends on what kind of melee dice pool. Like, if they had white dice for melee, then this would be hugely important. My guess is they're going to have black dice for melee. I might be wrong. It might be a black and a white. Like, Mandalorians can hit hard. They've got Beskar, so, like, I wouldn't want to get into a fist fight with a Mandalorian. I don't think any of you would either. So, but duelist is a really cool keyword here. Because it gives you 2 different things that you can do. And here's where I'm starting to see some ideas for synergy. Because if you've got an aim token, you can spend it to gain Pierce 1. If you've got a dodge token, you can spend that to gain immune to Pierce, right? And I'm thinking we're going to see teamwork, all right, sharing aims and dodges. That's my prediction based on this and based on kind of the things that they were talking about. So I think we're going to see some teamwork options. I think we're going to see a lot of token sharing if you run these together. And this will be a really fun one. By the way, I'm going to throw a shout out to whoever did these paint jobs. That pattern design on these helmets and this armor look really good. Like, look at those. They look great. And boy, you guys are going to have to buy up all of these, because I think people are going to be buying these by the carton just to have entire armies of Mandalorians. I worry that these are going to sell out and be really hard to find, because I think there will probably be some people that want to buy all of these and proxy their entire army to be Mandalorians. And so they'll run all these as rebel troopers, and then run all these as, like, I'm going to run the one guy with the 2 guns out that's standing all as my rebel troopers, and I'm going to have all the flying dudes as, as this, I wouldn't be surprised, especially when the new outlines come in, that there will be people who want to do that. I mean, there's already people getting all that kind of stuff 3D printed and everything. So would not surprise me if these sell fast. So FFG, if you're listening, however many of these you're going to make, triple it. That's my guess. These are going to probably sell real quick. And then in the preview article, we also got a look at the jetpack rockets. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. So it's a range 3 to 4 attack. It's only 8 points, too. Kind of cheap for a red die attack at range 3 to 4. See the X, though? One-time use. You're going to use it, then it's gone. But that's pretty cool. I love having that option. I mean, the game's only 6 turns long anyway, right? I'm okay with a cheap one-time shot because hopefully, especially if I'm running somebody like the Beskar Duelist, right? Hopefully I'm trying to close that gap sooner rather than later. So ideally, I shoot this on either turn 1 or 2 whenever I'm in range, maybe turn 2. And then every turn after that, I'm close enough that I wouldn't have had range for this anyway. So that's kind of my hope. One thing that stinks, though, is if you find yourself in like a sweet spot where you can split fire. If you split fire with this and just roll one, like I'm gonna hit that one guy at range 4, try to get a damage on your sniper or put some suppression on him or something like that. Well, for that one die, it's still gonna cost you the whole card, right? So, but it's got blast, so ignoring cover, awesome. Again, good for snipers. Because they like to hide, and then impact 1. So also really good for vehicles, man, because the impact 1 is on the weapon. If every mini uses this weapon, boom, all impact. I like it. Okay, so. Same thing with those impact grenades too. People used to try and do the same thing there. All right, we got to look at some of the poses. We got a tall and a short flight stand. We've got different weapon options. The legs and the torso and back and mask all look about the same. So, although there are different styles of masks. If we go back to the unit, right, you can see a couple of slightly different. You see the male and the female masks and stuff like that. So I think the female bodies are sculpted differently, so you might, I don't know if, I suppose some people could probably, swap around the masks a little bit and do some of that stuff. Pretty interesting. But yeah, so you're going to have some customizability on these two. Plus the flight stands. You can affix the flight stand to, like, basically wherever you want. If you want to put the flight stand, on their feet and have them flying really high, all of that stuff is going to be possible. So that much is cool. Now let's talk Inferno Squad. So I am overjoyed at Inferno Squad. They're giving us Gideon Hask, the bad guy, Del Miko, the good guy, and Sane Marana, the Forgotten, who is really maybe the nicest of the bunch. She was in the Inferno Squad book. She was really smart. She was very much like the hacker, the techie person. Really good overall good person. But again, very similar to the design aspect of, hey, this is going to be both a unique unit and a generic unit. So you can run, Inferno Squad as the unique unit, or you can just run the Imperial Special Forces generic version. And with the generic version, you can put like a single member of Inferno Squad in there if you want, or something like that. So speaking of in single members, by the way, before we even talk about Del Miko, I'm going to talk about this paint job. This paint job is A+. Amazing. Maybe the best paint job I have seen from an FFG preview article. Maybe. I'm going to go out there and say this is the best paint job I've seen from an FFG paint, best FFG preview article. Especially the subtleties with the black and all of that. Black is not one of the easier colors to paint and make it look right. Looks really good, man. Like, they did a really good job with this dude. And the facial details and all of that. Like, bravo. Well done. I love it. Cool. Great sculpt, too. But, yeah. I gotta give shout. I'd like to give shout about the artistry that I see in a lot of these articles. Because a lot of times you're just looking at the stats. And that's great. And, the card art on all of these looks fantastic, too. Especially that. Wait, let's go back a little bit more. The jetpack rock. Like, that's maybe my favorite art piece of the day. But all right, so let's talk about Del Miko. Del Miko had some people confused, had me confused initially. They did clarify it. Even the people in chat during the live stream were kind of clarifying it already, and I was like, okay, I still want to hear it from FFG just so we know for sure. And but yes, and they certainly did clarify it. So Del is a 1 through 5, 2 black die, heavy weapon with 2 health. He's 38 points, though, so he's awfully expensive. But he's cool. So Imperial Special Forces or Imperial Core Trooper only. Okay. Now, here's what that means. Imperial Core Troopers, pretty self-explanatory. You can put him in any Imperial Core unit. At the moment, that is Stormtroopers, and that is Snowtroopers, and that is Shore Troopers. Obviously, you can't put him into the mortar, even though it's a core, it doesn't have personnel or the heavy weapon slot, right? So you got 3 options, though. You can put him in there. Pretty cool. Like maybe you want to put him in Shores. I don't think I would put him in a Shore Trooper unit. I would probably put him in a Stormtrooper unit is where I would put him. But so that much is pretty cool. He's got Repair 2, Capacity 1, which means maybe you want to hang out kind of close to an ATST or something like that. I kind of dig a Repair, man. That's pretty fun. That's really cool. Run some speeder bikes again. Like I just like Repair 2. Very, very cool. He's got High Velocity. So if he's the only person shooting, they can't spend dodge tokens. Always good. Always good. Hey Tauntauns, you're not spending those dodges, right? And then he's got Lethal. Now this, I think, Lethal is probably the most important part because Pierce 1 is great. While attacking, spend up to 1 aim token to gain Pierce 1. Now, it means, of course, if you were to have higher numbers of lethal, if new keywords come out that can give you even more than 1 lethal, then you might be able to gain that. But what I love about this is I don't know how well he's going to work in Inferno Squad specifically. My suspicion is keywords like Repair 2 are awfully specific. That means everybody on the team is going to have some kind of very different keyword, and if you run the unique squad together, you're going to have this jack of all trades unit that can just do everything. I really can't wait to get a good look at these elite special forces units. It sounds really cool. But lethal, I think, is the key thing that really makes you want to take a look at Del Meeko and maybe consider running him in something like a Stormtrooper unit. Also, by the way, I could love to run this guy. Love to run this guy with Snowtroopers, right? Because they have steady. He can be hiding totally safe, then move out and shoot, and then move back in. Sniper that you will never be able to return fire on. Right? I mean, it's going to be expensive. But, dude, we were just talking about something like this in the last Double Critical podcast. So, loving it. We were talking specifically about if they had done a Snowtrooper-specific upgrade pack, so somebody with long range. I actually suggested, I think, a range 5 heavy for Snowtroopers that was like a 2 black or a red and a black. That's really funny that I'm thinking about that. Again, I had no idea what was coming, so it was pretty cool just to predict something to go in Snowtroopers. So I love that. I love that you can do that. So this is really cool. But, I mean, for Stormtroopers or Snowtroopers, however you want to run them, if you have an aim, you're going to be able to get Pierce. Now, that's pretty cool because, hey, I'm thinking with Stormtroopers because you've got different personnel upgrades. And don't they have a guy that they can give him a free aim? So I like that. The specialist, right? So you can get a free aim with Stormtroopers, and there you go. You got your Pierce. So I'm digging that. You got a bunch of white. You get a free reroll anyway, right? So maybe you aim and shoot and take your free aims. So now you got 2 aims. You have 1 for rerolls and then 1 to gain Pierce 1. I'm all about it, especially if you're fighting rebels too. They got the T-shirt save anyway. Oh, the rebels managed to roll 1 block. Take it away. So I think that's fun. I really like that. All right. And if we don't want to run Del Meeko, if we want to run just generic Special Forces, we can run the T-21 Special Forces Trooper, which is going to give us 4 white die with Critical 2. Critical is a nasty keyword. What this does tell me is this tells me that the Imperial Special Forces unit does not have Surge to Crit. This tells me that they probably, I'm going to guess that they have Surge to Hit. I'm going to guess that they do. If they don't, then this will be a really good option for them. But I just can't imagine Inferno Squad or Imperial Special Forces not having at least Surge to Hit. So, yeah, I would bet money that they probably have Surge to hit. And so this one will have, okay value. I'm also going to guess that they have 1 hit point each, since hence Delmico with his 2. Although not necessarily. It's not guaranteed. Because he can go in multiple units, it's nice that he has got a locked-in hit point value. Here is one of those things that makes this interesting, though. If they come out with some kind of ultra-heavy core, right? Like, let's just say someday they come out with a new core unit for the Empire that has 3 hit points each. He might be a liability to put in that core unit because he'll actually have less hit points than the unit. It's just something to think about. All right. And, of course, we got a look at how you can build these guys as well. And that is it. That's I think that's everything that we have to talk about for all of these new expansions for Legion. So, yeah, this was a little bit of a longer episode, but yeah, they look fun. I want to hear from you guys, though. I want to hear what you are most excited about out of everything that's revealed today. And if you want to let me know, what do you think's coming next? I think we're getting dangerously close to sub-factions, which should be really exciting. I can't wait. All right, guys, that's about it. I'll talk to you later. I want to give a big shout out to the patrons. We've got a lot of patron rewards that are going to be going out soon. They may have to wait a little bit because I don't think post offices are open for packages and things like that going out. But yeah, if you're interested in any of that stuff, be sure to check out the links in the description below. You can also follow me on social media. There's links for that. And if you want to support the channel, there's Patreon links as well as t-shirt and merch links. You can check out all of that. I want to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, have a great day.